Hello PUBG friends and welcome to another PUBG Playbook. ESL Masters Grand Finals week number 1 is done and E United found a lot of success by getting pretty high. Let's take a quick look at how they managed to find all that success, and our first look at it's going to be on Everest. I don't know about you, but whenever I was a kid, King of the Mountain was no joke. America's players seem to agree, but not by choice. Moving into day 1 at game 2, most teams are playing to the southwest of Everest, hoping the fact that it moves away from the mountain, and with good reason. The mountain itself creates a good divide in the area for multiple teams to be able to climb up and survive here. Also, the western side of Everest has far more trees to block out sight lines of teams that are going to be on the peaks looking down, and potentially also provide cover from teams that are going to be next to you. Teams usually try to jockey around each other for potential climbing spots or gatekeeping positions depending on how the circle goes if it stays Everest. Unfortunately for all of these teams, the circle shrinks are not going to favor those in the low ground, and we are staying due up on Everest. E United realizes they have an opportunity. They dodge most of the combat for an easy climb to the top. They're able to move into a strong defendable position right as the circle pops and shifts to the east, favoring them and leaving Fiumba out cold. As this happens, Tactical 8 and Spicy Fish commence to fight in the low ground tree cover, while Fiumba and E United fight to get control over the peaks. Fiumba realize they're being gate kept out by E United, so instead opt into a low ground push. Right as Tactical 8 is finishing up and beginning their rotation is going to be whenever they are spotted out. They do manage to catch T8 off guard, picking up a couple of kills, but the rest of the match is really just dealing with E United's high ground control, which after Tactical 8 falls allows them to get low ground control as well, and DraftKings finds himself squeezed and falls valiantly on the unforgiving mountainside. E United exploited distractions and made a great rotation to take control over this game and use the high ground to the utmost advantage. And it's not the only time that they did that in day 1. Let's be real, from about circle 4 and day number 1, game number 4, it was pretty apparent that E United had a phenomenal spot for this endgame. They had moved from Picado to a rock set that had a cliff facing down into the circle, with the other teams contending for a few spattered compounds and trying desperately avoid the killing fields or E United sightlines. Dodge ended up having one of the better defendable buildings with the Longhouse and did a great job of repelling the invaders as they came in. Sometimes fortune favors the bold as Young Kings decides to roll right through the open onto the foothills at E United's cliff. The hope with this play is now that they're inside the dip, defended from the people on the outside, those same people that would be able to take pot shots at them cannot allow E United to look down on them, risk E United getting shot themselves. The strat works as E United has targets in abundance, and while this part of Miramar is desert, E United is just farming away. Moving into Circle 7, it's finally time for E United to have to leave their high ground. Blood moves to the north and try to creep up back behind Dodge, and while he does get a knock, late game blue damage is no joke and he goes down to that. Next up is E United leaving that high ground, though as Reload gets knocked by Dodge, Snaker is knocked by Sir Isaac Newton himself. Both Dodge and Young Kings are eliminated shortly afterward. DraftKings realizes he's in a 2v1 and moves into a far more defensive stance, moving heavily to the east. An easy res comes through, and now the two-man E United leave the hillside and move out to the foothills themselves, sweeping through and also sweeping Fiumba out for the win. So instead of looking at the plays, because there's going to be a lot of shooting happening from E United's position, let's look at the benefits and why high ground has been so strong for United. High ground gives you the ability to damage those around you from so much further away. Even just shooting them can force a stall or force them to go into a new position. All of these actions provide a buffer zone that anybody that's going to enter into knows the fact that they are going to have to be mitigating high risk, but whenever we're looking at high ground, the zone expands to be so much larger. You can usually even play more risky. One, because you have a ton of info. You get to see everything that's happening around you and your teammates can feed that. So knowing how to peek and where to peek is even safer. Resource management is extremely important though, as unsurprisingly, you lose the ability to loot those that you kill, meaning what you take is all you've got for the entirety of this game. All of these factors allows you a certain level of control in a game. As we have repeatedly seen through these matches, as the game progresses and you keep that high ground point, the power only increases. Everybody has now moved into that buffer zone. The only downside is since you've been shooting everybody for about 15 to 20 minutes, that means that everybody else wants you dead, like bad. So when you leave the safety of your nest, it's got to be pretty careful. It's also pretty cathartic when you finally do go down. That's okay. You can laugh all the way to the leaderboard with the KP you got from the control for 15 to 20 minutes there. United may be at the top in week 1, but can they hold on to it in week 2? Tune in this weekend as we're going to crown the ESL champion. Until then, see you on the battleground, and probably on Desta. Just can't stop playing.